NBA players aren't always on the best terms with each other. In fact, some of them have led to full-blown feuds. Today, let's take a look at some NBA players who absolutely hate each other. Starting off with two players who usually don't seem like they've got any beef: Seth Curry and Paul George. The memorable moment that these two exchanged during the 2020 NBA playoffs will undoubtedly stick in the minds of fans of either player. It was an unexpectedly intense exchange between the two athletes who often come across as model citizens. Curry had just finished what he does best, scoring points, when Seth pointed directly toward Paul George and began to yell. Although the outburst may have appeared spontaneous to some, many think it was caused by the two men's shared experience with a lady, which made them dislike one another. Sometimes, though, the hatred between players can seep its way outside of the basketball court, too. That's what's happened with Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns. Although several publications have claimed that the two are excellent friends, their numerous on-court tussles suggest the opposite. Over the years, the two have exchanged powerful blows. Some seem to think that the two have put their past issues behind them, but it's also possible that they just put on a nice front for the public. Considering how rough they are on the court, I wouldn't doubt this. Only time will tell if the two guys are indeed on good terms, or if their next encounter will result in them exchanging blows.
See him right there. What is going on?
And then Embiid came in and double team.
When you see players shouting their room numbers on the court to have a fight, you know things are getting serious. I'm talking about the rivalry between Aaron Gordon and Kyle Lowry. One of the nicest people around, Kyle Lowry will always have a special place in the hearts of most Raptors supporters. His kindness only makes it stranger that he appears to be engaged in a bitter dispute with Aaron Gordon, a name that might surprise you. Fans may not be aware of what sparked the fight, but Gordon was fouled by Lowry a few years ago, which resulted in an argument. Lowry even provided Gordon with his hotel room number in case he wished to pay him a later visit. In their subsequent encounters, the two men would engage in significant foul play. A cheeky kiss can be more dangerous than it looks. That's what led to a fight between Jimmy Butler and T.J. Warren. Thanks to the fantastic gift that resulted from their original argument, fans of Jimmy Butler will never forget his problems with T.J. Warren. Warren was finally kicked out of the game after the two got into a violent altercation. Jimmy Butler gave Warren a cheeky kiss instead of simply ignoring him, making it one of the funniest moments in NBA history. A moment like that obviously couldn't have been predicted, yet it led to many people growing their admiration for Butler. The hostility between the two guys was then further cemented when they exchanged a few harsh words in interviews.
Warren's hands grabbed him by the left arm and spun him around, held him.
Next up is the story of how two rivals became really good friends. These foes turned friends are Hassan Whiteside and Rudy Gobert. Although they're now teammates, these two guys once had a great deal of hatred for one another. On the court, the two guys engaged in a heated rivalry and were never reluctant to express their feelings toward one another. People were still speculating about whether the two men would still dislike one another even after Whiteside joined the Jazz. Although no one can be certain, the two seem friendlier now, with Whiteside even claiming that they engage in cooperative video gameplay. This next quarrel started with an accident, but some fans say that the accident was actually intentional. I'm talking about the bad blood between Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley. Over the years, there has been a great deal of controversy involving these two, which has even given rise to some serious accusations. Beverley has even said that Westbrook intentionally harmed his career. Every time they meet, the two men argue, and throughout the years, they've been very loud about their disagreements. Because of their unwavering support for Westbrook, fans have been able to stoke the fires even further, which frequently has a bad effect on Beverley, both online and off.
Loving moments like this defensively.
These next two players have one of the most random, yet most continuous beefs in the entire NBA. Yep, it's Terrence Mann and Luka Doncic. Many of the finest players had a difficult time during the famed NBA bubble, and these two were no different. The men would frequently fight and had plenty of heated exchanges between plays. The two players even once stood up right in front of one another while they were playing a game. Although it appeared like a fight would start, Mann was eventually escorted out of the situation by a colleague before things could become worse. Plus, the next players on this list are on equally dangerous terms. Nikola Jokic and Markieff Morris. It appeared for a short while that their issues would continue on the court, but nothing could be farther from the truth. Morris was more than willing to criticize Jokic online after a few encounters. After Morris fouled Jokic in the center of the floor, one of the most heated exchanges occurred. Jokic wasn't pleased with it, so he hit Morris from behind and sent him flying across the court. Jokic was attacked by everyone, but he resisted, showing he wasn't ready to be made an idiot.
Banging.
Next, the award for the most confusing beef in the NBA goes to these players, Kevin Durant and Dwight Howard. Although many people have been more than willing to make assumptions about the cause of the conflict between them, there actually doesn't seem to be a clear explanation. The majority of people cite their intense rivalry as the primary cause of their hatred. It's not unusual for two elite athletes to argue all the time in any sport. Most fans think the two men's hatred of one another was caused by their need to be the best and their conflicting views on how to achieve that goal. An equal amount of animosity is shared by these next two players, James Harden and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Although Giannis has said that he and James have no animosity toward one another, their actions say otherwise. Due to their prominence in the league, both guys have engaged in several physical confrontations, but they've also verbally exchanged blows. Giannis might not have been pleased that Harden had publicly criticized him in some harsh ways over the years. Although their animosity has been subdued, the two have sometimes thrown jabs.
Went in at about 90. Unintentional, of course.
Not all rivalries are seen on the court. Some are more prominent outside the court. This famous duo has the same problem. I'm talking about Kobe Bryant versus Shaquille O'Neal. This duo was dominant on the court, capturing 3 straight NBA championships. Off the court, though, the two were always at odds with one another. According to reports, O'Neal called Bryant selfish and told the Lakers management that Kobe's style of play would prevent them from winning. Additionally, the two were often at odds with the media, trading jabs whenever they had the chance. The rivalry continued when the two were teammates, with Kobe alleging that O'Neal had bribed women with whom he'd had sex to remain silent. O'Neal continued by labeling Bryant a rat, denying that he'd ever paid anyone off and blaming his divorce on Kobe's remarks. But the big guy being caught on camera rapping about Bryant, with one of the lines being, "Kobe, how my ass taste," has to be my favorite Kobe-Shaq interaction. Anyway, which of these NBA players that seem to hate each other surprised you the most? See you in the next one.